I can't tell you the number of female streamers that I started with that started out with one mindset and have gone completely the other direction.
The last couple of years at Twitch have been an absolute shit show, right? It's been crazy to see with obviously the rise of Kick. You've seen the hot tub versus like the hot tub streamers, and it's all just been a slow de-evolution of women trying to more or less funnel young, vulnerable men who have a little bit of money to their OnlyFans, right? And it's always been like, what can we do to get them there? And most recently, it started with, this lady, her name was Morg Pie, and she would shake her boobies on stream back and forth. And that was kind of the viral clip that went around. And
that is one unit of a woman. My goodness.
She is stout. She is stout. She will break you.
Yeah, I'm scared.
So she triggered this whole, and once again, just as a recap, she triggered the artistic nudity thing on Twitch, which lasted about 24 hours. And it was, it will be looked on in the world of internet. That 24 hours will be looked on as like what not to do on a video game platform, right? It was just chaos. You had all sorts of stuff happening. So immediately Twitch shuts that down. Well, now you have women who are doing their best to avoid that. And you saw like this lady yesterday or a couple days ago, she was using censor bars on her streams, and she would put it above her hoo-has. And, she's like, hey, look at me. I'm so funny. Here I am. Well, guess what? Banned. She's been banned over implied nudity. And this person, Morg Pie, has also been banned. And not an official reason why, but it's implied that it's implied nudity. And now we have more people, which leads us to our next person, who is trying to skirt the system with pixel, censoring here, as this young lady is playing the piano in front of, I guess, her audience with her pixel thing on it. And here's her clip real quick.
I know what I can play. Robert Miles' Children.
Okay, so she's obviously extremely talented, right? She's very good at being a pianist, but here she is. She has skirted her way around. I feel there's immense irony here that she has a second camera on her hands instead of her tits. You think that's what she'd want to do?
She's got that bar with her name on it, covering her legs perfectly too, so it doesn't show anything but like her knee, if you notice.
Right. So let's turn the table over to Des. Now, Des, you are familiar with this young lady, and you have some things you'd like to say.
I've known Laura for a really long time. So she and I both started playing piano we were like the very first music streamers on Twitch. So I've known her for a very long time. Was friends with her on Twitter, friends with her on Facebook even. Hung out with her at events. And what's so interesting to me is that I can't tell you the number of female streamers that I started with that started out with one mindset and have gone completely the other direction. When she first started, she was only wearing overalls, and she intentionally dressed down because she did not want male attention. And that's like, she would say that, she is like super, super feminist. And that she was when she started, but it just got more and more and more. I mean, like very, very extreme. She's partially responsible for my, I would say for like my soft cancellation on Twitch. So before the convention dropped me, that was like my hard cancellation last summer. But before that, I started kind of making some tweets on Twitter when all the COVID stuff started happening, and just like, hey, let's not like force vaccine mandates, or, I don't think lockdowns were a good idea or whatever. I was always like very nice how I put things. But I noticed like I was starting to get the cold shoulder and a lot of pushback from her, and she would be pretty nasty in her responses and on Facebook as well to to the and at one point I actually started a like a liberty podcast, just chatting on Twitch. I only did a few episodes, but like one time I had on, I don't know if y'all know Liberty Lockdown, but he's gained a lot of traction in kind of the liberty world. But he spoke a lot about how lockdowns were really hurting us. And this was all very, very early into all the COVID craziness. And she tweeted afterwards about like, great, another racist podcast. I'm like, we didn't even talk about race, like whatever. And so it was definitely a very, you know, at that point I was like, okay, that's like gloves are off. Like she's been kind of like making these little jabs. Like she's clearly not interested in a friendship. She's just out to trash me. And she is comes from a very, very far left idea. And at that point, I can't remember if I blocked her first or she blocked me or what happened, but we've been blocked from each other, you know, for a good, I don't know, like maybe year and a half, 2 years now. And then I just happened to see a couple of weeks ago. I'm not even sure because I don't like go into her channel at all. Like I don't want to see her. Even like seeing her on the screen just makes me like, ugh. It's hard when it's somebody that you used to call a friend and you used to confide in, and you see them go so far the other direction where they like, if you attack me on social media, like that's it. Like we are not friends. You know, if you have a problem with me, message me privately and let's have a discussion. But don't make me into something that I'm not. In a social space. That is so snaky to me. And so, you know, it's actually it's kind of like hard to like see that clip of her, because it's just it is, you know, I hate to use the word trigger because it's so overused now, but it is kind of a little triggering. But you know, so I happen to like, I'm not even sure how I found out, but she created an OnlyFans a couple of weeks ago.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So and the part that I saw on it said that like, she actually was not going to mix the worlds of piano and nudity. Then that was a couple of weeks ago, but I guess she decided like to hell with it now. I don't know where her mind's at, but I think I know she really hates men. Like, I mean, she really like she has said stuff so much, and it's so interesting to me, like this brand of feminism that it's like they're literally like getting all this money from these like incels, honestly, that you know they have no problem selling themselves, and it's just so weird. Like these guys are giving money to people that hate them.
Well,
you know?
I think you kind of do have to hate men, at least to a certain degree, to do something like that, because to even set that kind of scenario up, like an OnlyFans, and because that is very unhealthy for these men to even be partaking in this kind of parasocial relationship that is rotting their brains, keeping them from interacting with real women in the real world. So yeah, I think that a lot of women who do actually participate in that do hate men, because you couldn't do that to people that you respect. You couldn't even if you're benefiting from it, unless you're a psychopath. It's like, oh, wait a minute, this is hurting these men, to make them think that they're getting a personal some false sense of a personal relationship with me. I don't know how they can even do that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, I don't need to have Laura as a friend, and that's fine. If she didn't want me as a friend, I don't really care. Like, I'm sure she thinks I'm a crazy right-wing conspiracy theorist, like, whatever. It's totally fine. I'm not like interested in trying to, you know, like stir anything up to, I don't know, like explore that. It was just a very weird thing to be a part of, because she was extremely influential in the music department. She was one of the top music streamers at the time. And I mean, I definitely felt like I started getting kind of the cold shoulder from other streamers because of that influence. And I can't put all that blame on her, because at the end of the day, I did choose to go ahead and say my thoughts in a public space. And that is, you know, a possibility of what's going to happen if you start expressing your views. But I also know a lot of people were afraid of her, because she was very intimidating. She would put her thoughts out there in a very like harsh way, and other people had expressed that long before a lot of the politics stuff. So that's just kind of her personality. And I do like, She is talented. She's very talented. She's a great pianist. She's got an incredible ear. That's probably her biggest strength, way better than mine. And I just, I'm just sad, honestly. Like, I'm sad. I know she's not sad, and I probably shouldn't be sad for her, but I am sad that so many women feel like they have to go down this route, like to like get more money and to like, there's got to be other ways, other areas for you to explore. And I mean, she's not young. She's my age. So she's around 40. She doesn't have kids and she's not married. So she's in a completely different like lifestyle that I'm in. Like I wouldn't do that if I were single, but I'm certainly not going to do that. Like definitely would absolutely never do that with kids, so I know that she's like in a different place. So it's hard. It's like, you don't want to judge, but it's just, I just kind of sometimes want to shake some of these women and feel like, you're really a lot better than this. Like
Right.
Don't like devalue yourself, Well,
but the thing you hear about this is that it's empowering to women. Like that's the shield that they use. This is empowering for me to be able to do this and show off my body and look at me. I'm doing what's right for women. How dare you look at me and judge me? Because I'm empowering women.
Yeah, that's absurd. It's degrading, but for some reason, and I think that I think it's a combination of things. But once women started profiting off of these men, then they started to feel like, okay, wait a minute, maybe this is a thing. And then you also have the male feminist types who are encouraging women to do this because they want to see them naked. So it's just like it's people fueling this degeneracy that is hurting everybody across the board, whether they realize it or not. And even with these women who are making a bunch of money, they're losing their soul in the process and to go that kind of route. And you can be a girl on the internet and make something of yourself. I mean, look what Desiree does, Blabs, what I try to do. Like we have our thing. We have, in this case being in like the nerd gamer space and all that sort of thing. There shouldn't be, it doesn't have to be different of like, okay, I'm a woman that does this just like a guy can go and stream games and talk about games and things like that. But once you have these women who have taken things to that different level and kind of corrupted and also made things more difficult for us who are actually trying to be legit. Now people will see a girl streaming a game and they just assume, what's your OnlyFans then? Where can I find your OnlyFans? Right. And it's like, goodness, they're just ruining things for a lot of women and building a reputation for a lot of women that a lot of us do not want to be tied to.
Yeah,
well, allow me to
for everybody.
Allow me to speak for men here when speaking of this girl. No one's gonna want to touch this lady. She's single and she's gonna remain single because unless you find some and the reality is that it's gonna take some super beta cuck to go be like, yes, of course, go on stream, honey, share it with the world. Well, what a fucking idiot.
Poll, would you date an OnlyFans girl? Currently 13% says yes.
There's a difference between dating and actually having a relationship. I'm sure there's a lot of guys who would like to date. I should make a new poll and say
serious dating.
There's a lot serious relationship. There's a lot of people who would like to date an OnlyFans girl.
And to be fair, I know Laura is not interested in getting married to anybody. Or at least if I mean, that's what she always says. It's like, I don't think she does not want kids. She does not want to get married. At least that was the last I heard. I doubt that's changed.
Well, allow me to kind of let her know and give her a brief look into her future. In 20 years, you're going to be sad and lonely. Right. And you may love your life right now, but the best thing you could possibly do is get married and have kids. I'm sorry. That's the best thing you can possibly do. And you can talk about how great your life is, but at the end of the day, you're going to feel emptiness. You will.
Well, and it's just that, the OnlyFans, it's so common now. I don't understand. I don't see how it's going to even be, you're going to be able to even make money off of this soon. Because everyone,
Right.
right? Like, I mean, are
It's
people
over-
really
They're
making that
not.
much money?
It's like the top 0.5% or however little are making a ton of
Mhm.
money, and the rest are ruining their reputations and degrading themselves for less than they would make working at McDonald's. It's really sad that that's all it takes. And I think that going back to that 13% or however many guys who say, yeah, they would date or marry a girl like that, then they're also devaluing themselves. So the girls are devaluing themselves by selling their butthole for $5 on the internet. And the guys who would even commit to a woman like that are devaluing themselves, because that's not the way things are supposed to be. It's degrading all around for everybody participating.
Oh, but we're not done yet because we have more. We could talk about how people are getting on this train. You had, obviously, Amaranth. She's getting on the train. She has the censor bars on her and stuff. That's all great. But wouldn't you know that this is not just a girl thing? As some guys have got on the train.
You haven't gone on Twitch without me knowing about it, have you?
Parodies. It's hilarious.
Oh,
no!
okay, it's not Greg. Okay.
Oh! See, I saw one with a guy who put on prosthetic titties and put a censor bar over
I
it.
saw
That was
that.
funny. But this, you know what? This is what it's going to take for Twitch to actually do something. This is very gross and I don't want to see it, but this is what guys are going to have to do to push back against this stuff. To be like, wait a minute.
Equality.
Stop this double standard crap.
Right.
Mhm.
And the thing about it, the guy is, he's really aggressive with what he's doing on camera behind that black bar, right?
I
And
seriously thought it was you saying you went and filmed yourself with a black bar on Twitch or something.
Blabs, do I look like this guy?
You
do I
said
look,
you were.
Do I look
you
like
said
him?
you wanted to do some autistic streaming the other day. I was like, oh my god, he did it without me knowing.
I would never do something like that. Never. No.
He would never tie a string to a hot dog around his waist and try to put it in his mouth. Ever.
Ever. Listen, the hot dog toss was just that was you could thank Shamsa for
So
that.
if Shamsa sent you 1K to do that, would you do it?
No, because I never said I would do it in the first place.
True. Okay.
If Shamsa just wanted to come in, if anybody wanted to come and drop a $1,000 bomb right now, you know what I would do? I would say thanks. I greatly appreciate it. And then Blabs would do the hot dog toss.
Hell no, I won't. Mm-mm.
Twitch is
Oh
just
my
one
God.
giant meme right now, and their reputation is looking terrible with all this. What they
Mhm.
really need is moderators especially on the just chatting section, but even everywhere, to ban this stuff on the spot. It's like, instead of, oh, don't give it some time and don't like, oh, let's figure this out. Ban it on the spot and let them appeal, and then you can look into it. But immediately you see censor bars, you see pixelated censor stuff over anything that even remotely looks like implied nudity. Ban it on the spot. Get it off there as quickly as possible before people are making clips and this and that. They need to be watching like hawks and taking this stuff down, because this is pathetic at this point.
It is, which is why it's important that everybody goes to kick.com/Lady Desiree and support true talent.
Yes.
Support true talent. Make sure you hit the follow button over there, and obviously subscribe over here and support Lady Desiree as she gets back on the throne of Queen Pianist on the internet. Which is
Careful
just
how
a
you say that word, Craig.
Yeah.
pianist. But what do you think about this? Leave us a comment down below. We read every single one of them. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button because you have found your home for common sense in the gaming and entertainment worlds.